Hi guys, my name is Asia and I'm 23 years old. I recently graduated from St. John's University in May and I'm really good friends with Miss Cannon. She told me that you guys had some questions for me about college and what it was like for me there, especially being a person of color. So I have them here for you and I'm going to go ahead and answer your questions.
Okay, Asia, why did you choose St. John's?
So I chose St. John's because my senior year when I was looking into colleges, one thing that was really important to me was diversity. So I actually just Googled like the most diverse schools in the United States and St. John's was the third one on there. And I had heard of St. John's before. It's only about an hour away from me. So that's what really got me interested in wanting to go to St. John's because the high school that I went to wasn't very diverse. There weren't that many people of color in general at all, really. So that was something that was really important to me, and I definitely wanted that to be included in my college experience. So that's really one of the main reasons why I chose St. John's. That really attracted me to that school.
And why did you choose your major?
I chose my major, which was teaching, because I always wanted to help people. I love kids, and that's just something I've always been interested in. And as I started taking my teaching courses at St. John's, I just knew that I was going to love it. We, as a part of our program, had to go into schools and just observe and see what it was like being in the classroom. And as the first time I ever went in a classroom, I just knew I was going to like it. I just really have a passion for teaching and for helping, especially kids. And so that's why I chose my major.
What did you like best about St. John's?
What I liked best about St. John's was, again, the diversity. When I went there were so many people of color, not just African Americans. I mean, one of my roommates was from India. My other roommate was mixed as well. So I met a lot of people just from different backgrounds, different countries. And so that was, again, that was one of my favorite things about being at St. John's. It was so diverse. It was very inclusive. I never felt uncomfortable. I always just felt very welcome there. And I just like the environment of being around so many different people and getting to experience that. It was also in Queens, so it's in New York City, and I live in a really small town further upstate, so I really liked that part of it, and it was only an hour away, so it wasn't too far from me. Yeah, so that's what I like probably the most about St. John's.
How would you describe your experience as a person of color at this university?
My experience at St. John's as a person of color was very positive. I had never been a part of a school or an environment where there was programs or clubs specifically aimed at African American students or people, or even just people of color in general. So that was something I really liked about St. John's. There was a club called Haraya, and we would have like peaceful protests on campus. They would have weekly meetings. They held fashion shows, things like that. And so, like I said, just the whole environment was very diverse. I never felt out of place. I never felt uncomfortable being a person of color there because there were so many people from so many countries, other states, other places. And so I really liked my experience there as a person of color.
What skills and experiences did you gain from attending St. John's?
So, since my major was in education and becoming a teacher, most of the skills that I learned had to do with that. So I learned a lot about lesson plans, how to run a classroom, how to make learning fun for students in elementary school, how to include like current topics or things that were happening in the world right at the time into my lessons to make learning fun for the students and to get them engaged. And then other than that, like I had to take those classes for my major, but there's also other classes I had to take that everyone had to take, like biology, like science classes, English classes, social studies, things that didn't have to do with teaching, but I learned a lot from those classes as well. It's a Catholic school, so we had to take theology, which is the study of religion, but we didn't only learn about Christianity.